How to design custom tags in PractiCAD. The custom tag feature is easily the most flexible of all the tags. Out of the different tag types, general, property, input size, and elevation, custom tags can be used to recreate all four. Therefore, most of the tags in PractiCAD that come in your default data were designed using the custom tag feature. To design a custom tag, we're going to go into the library icon on the PractiCAD ribbon. On the left-hand side, we must go into our documentation section, then open up tags, and here you're going to get a list of the different tag types. We're going to select custom and open it up with the little plus key to see the current choices. We're going to create a new tag underneath the custom catalog. So what we're going to do is highlight the word custom, and then we're going to click on the green checkbox. Once we do that, it's going to create a new item, and PractiCAD is going to open up a window and ask us to choose an icon. There are separate tutorials on creating and choosing icons and also modifying them. Here what we're going to do is we're going to choose the length tag icon and we're going to press open. Once we've done that, PractiCAD is now going to ask us to name this tag. And for now, we're just going to call this tag PCAD test. We're going to hit enter. Once you do that, PractiCAD now has an icon and it's named the tag exactly what we'd like to use for this tutorial. Now we're going to open up our screen. We're going to close the browser. And we're going to focus on the other parameters and options we have here in the custom tag section. The first thing you must do to create a custom tag is choose the size of the tag you'd like and the number of fields. You can also choose the size of each particular field. For example, currently you can see that we only have field 1A open. However, if we would like this tag to have two fields, we can hold our mouse over the little gray bar and then pull it to the right, and now this tag will allow us to put information in 1A and 1B. If we would like to make it a two-tier tag, we could drag down this particular gray bar, and now we've got field 1A and 2A, 1B and 2B. We're also capable of expanding one field so that it takes up the space of two. To do that, we're going to click on 1A, and we're going to hold our mouse directly over this little yellow line that's going across here. Once you see the double-headed arrows, we can now hold with our left mouse and just pull down slightly, and when you let go, you'll notice that PractiCAD will open it up so that this field has been combined. This will be a larger field. One field will be as large as both of these fields combined. If you'd like to undo that, you must hold your mouse down at the bottom, just at the edge, and then start pulling up and release it very close to the dotted yellow line. You can also open it up so that a specific field will be larger left to right. For example, if we bring our mouse over the dotted yellow line up here and we hold down with the mouse and pull in this direction, you can see that we've made field 1A and 2A, the entire column, larger than the column B. Take note that you will not be able to expand the last column without opening up a new one. For example, if I hold my mouse over this dotted yellow line by the B and C and I pull to the right, it's going to open up C. Once we've done that, we can come back, expand B to the size we'd like, and then we can close C. This way we can get each field to be the exact size we need. We are also capable of splitting fields. If you decide at any point in time you'd like to split the field in half, all you need to do is hold your cursor over the field you'd like to chop and click once with your mouse. Once you do that, one left click, it will split the field back into A and B. And here once again, you'd be able to open it up or close specific fields. So once we've got the entire tag laid out correctly and all our field sizes are where we want them to be, now we can double click on a specific field. We're going to double click on 1A and we can work with the custom field box. The field box contains an enormous amount of parameters. So we're going to have tutorials that go over each option individually, and we're going to design an entire variety of tags to show you why we might want to use one specific tag or function in a specific place over another. The main section of the field parameter box is actually going to be the expression field. It is the box right here we're highlighting with our cursor. Everything we design in all of these sections will be notated here. Now the expression field is not a field you can freely type into. Notice that I'm currently typing with my keyboard and nothing is appearing. If we would like to add anything to the expression field, it must be done utilizing these little ampersand commands, or you're going to need to utilize these specific keypad commands. You can never type anything in the field box. For example, imagine we'd like to see the text duct length. Here what we're going to do is put in the text field duct length, and we're going to hit the ampersand key to place text in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say we'd like to see the property length. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose from a drop list of properties, and we're going to hit the ampersand and place the property length. As we continue to add things to the expression, Practicad will build that expression in front of us. Now we can also edit the expression field, but we cannot edit the expression field by utilizing normal backspace or delete commands. We must utilize the 4 features we have here. For example, the first thing we've got here is the ability to copy and paste anything we've done. If in fact we've already designed a custom tag someplace else and we would like to borrow and use that expression, we can simply hit the copy button once, as we're going to do here, and that will copy everything inside the expression. And if we'd like to paste it later, we can come over here, hit the paste key, and when we click on paste, it will put the entire expression in there for us. So this is a very quick way of replicating the expression from one field to another between different tags. Now if we would like to edit that expression, we can do 2 things. We can either delete one section of the expression by utilizing this arrow here. Notice if we click once, notice where the cursor is. It's in front of the tag currently. So what we'd want to do is we'd want to click to create the cursor where we'd like to delete, and we can click this arrow back one time and it'll delete one section of the expression. If we would like to delete the entire line at once, we can utilize the C or clear command. I'm going to click on it now. So once again, we're going to paste what we had copied. We're going to click where we'd like to delete. In this particular case, let's click right next to the little plus key. And then we're going to come over to the arrow and we're going to delete just one section. Now what we can do if we'd like to start adding things from this field, we'd once again re-highlight the place we'd like to add to, and then we're going to place things in utilizing our fields over here. So we're going to clear out the box and we're going to go over each individual section one at a time. The first field we're going to go over is the text field. The text field is very easy to use. Essentially all we do is type in whatever we would like to see on this particular tag as we've typed it. For example, if we would like to see the words duct length equals, we can type it in the text field. And once we'd like to put it into the expression, we can click on the ampersand and Practicad will place the duct length text into the expression. Notice that it's in quotations in the expression field. Everything inside the quotations is exactly as you're going to see it on your drawing when you go to utilize this tag. For example, here we're going to save. We're going to open up our browser. We're going to move the field box out of the way. And we're going to take this PCAD test tag and we're just going to drag this icon into our bin like so. Now what we're going to do is we're going to exit out and we're going to utilize this tag. We're going to go over to the tag. We're going to grab the PCAD test. We're going to click once and we're going to click on the duct and now we're going to place it. Here you can see that thus far all we've done is utilized the text and typed in the word duct length, and that is all this tag is going to show at this particular time. So the text field allows us to type in anything we'd like to see as is on our drawing. The next field we're going to cover in the custom field section is the property field. This is the field we use if we would like Practicad on the tag to represent the value of any specific property. We're going to go over to the drop down menu and open it up. Take note that currently this field is empty. The reason the field is empty is because we have not yet chosen a target. Notice right here we have the section for target. We have ductwork, architecturals, piping, and custom items. If you do not see the target, you must make sure that your field window, which we're moving up and down, is out of the way so that you can choose the proper target. If we were to click on ductwork, Practicad would show all of the properties pertaining to all ductwork. If we were to open up ductwork and then pick a specific fitting underneath ductwork, Practicad would only show the properties pertaining to that specific section. For example, if we were to open up all the way down to transitions and click on transitions, we're only going to see the properties for transitions. However, if we click on the word ductwork, Practicad is going to show us every single property of all fittings combined. So what we do is we choose our target first. Once we do that, you're going to notice that there are now values in property and function. So what we do is we go to property and we select from our list the property we would like Practicad to show. For example, if we would like to go to length, we can hit the letter L. Practicad will jump to the first L on the list, and then we can choose by scrolling down until we get to the proper property. Here we're going to choose the property length. What we're going to do now is we're going to hit the ampersand to enter the property length into the expression. You'll notice that when we enter properties, they always show up in blue, bold lettering. That represents that it was a property. So here we're going to say to show the property length. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save this tag and we're going to exit out and utilize it showing the property length. Here we're going to go into our bin. We're going to grab our Practicad test. We're going to click on the duct, and now we can see that we've got the property length. Now we're going to show you how to combine a text field with a property field. We're going to design a simple width by depth tag. And this tag is going to consist of the property within, followed by the text of a little x, followed by the property depth in. So first thing we're going to do is go into property. We're going to find the within property. We're going to select it. We're going to press the ampersand. We're going to put it into our expression. Now what we'd like to do is we'd like to have the little X symbol in between the width and depth. Now any time we want to combine a property parameter with a text parameter, we must separate them with a little plus key. So we're going to hit the plus symbol here. You'll notice currently it's in the expression. Now what we can do is we can come to the text field. We're going to put in the letter X. We're then going to hit the ampersand. And now what we'd like to do is we'd like to go back to using a property field. So since we're going to combine text with property again, we must separate it with a little plus key. So we're hitting the plus key and you can see it in the expression. If you do not put the little plus key there, your expression will not work. The tag will not work. This is the number one reason why a tag wouldn't work. So always make sure you combine text and properties with the little plus key. Now that we've got the little plus key, we're just going to go to property. We're going to hit D for depth in. We're going to go up to the depth in parameter. We're going to hit the ampersand. And now we're basically going to save this and we're going to put it on our drawing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the PCAD test. We're going to simply click on our duct and we're going to place it on the drawing. And here you can see we have a 36 by 18 tag created by combining text fields and property fields. Very important. Always use the plus key when combining text fields with property fields. After you've chosen all of the text properties and property properties that you'd like to use for a tag, you must now choose the text styles you'd like a specific field to have. Notice, just like the common parameters, which are represented at the top of our custom tag field, and there are separate tutorials on the common parameters, notice that we have the ability to choose a text style we would like Practicad to follow for this particular field. The reason this has been added to this section is because you might want to design a tag with multiple fields, as we're doing here, and you might want to have one text style in this field and a completely different text style in this field. If you're only going to utilize one text style for the entire tag, you can simply put that text style up here in the top section under your common parameters, and this text style will govern all of the fields for a specific tag. However, if you decide to put a specific text style here in the field box, this text style will override anything you have for your common parameters. So generally, if we want two fields or more with different text styles, we put in the text style here. However, if we're just going to have one text style govern the entire tag and all fields, we usually leave this blank and we put in the text style up top. So here what we're going to do is we're going to type in the word standard. And notice that if we type in the text style standard, just like our common parameters, the font and text height gets grayed out, which means we no longer want to choose the font and text height. We just want to let this particular field, field 1A, we'd like it to follow the font and text height that's in our text style for standard. However, if we leave it blank, it will now allow us to choose a font type and choose a text height just for this one particular field. The border option is an easy option to use. Just like we have the ability underneath the common parameters to put a frame around the entire tag, we also have the ability to put borders around individual fields. Notice that we only have 4 options: left, right, up, and down. And that means top, and this means bottom. Currently, they're all highlighted. If we highlight all 4, it means that Practicad is going to put a line on all 4 sides. Therefore, we're going to have a rectangle just around field 1A. If we would only like to have one line at the bottom of 1A, separating 1A from 2A, we can simply uncheck the ones we would not like to use. We're going to keep the bottom line highlighted, and then we're going to utilize it for our tag. Here, if we go to our tag bin, we're going to use the PCAD test. We're going to click on our duct, and now you can see that we've got all of the values we're showing, and here we've got a border with just one line on the bottom of field 1A. So we just need to check the borders that we'd like to have around each particular field. The text align feature allows us to align the text inside a given field. Up top on common parameters, we have the ability to align the text for the entire tag. However, if we would like one field to have text aligned on one side and another field to have text aligned on another side, we can choose that by checking the proper option here. This way, each field controls its own alignment. For example, if we want it aligned on the left, we click left. If we want center, we click center. And you'll notice the Practicad will move it right here inside the field for you. If we want it aligned on the right, we simply depress the one on the right. Usually the last choice we are selecting in our custom field box is the field type and then the associated format and precision for that field type. Practicad offers 5 basic field types. We have no units, string, length, angle, and custom. Basically, take note that if you choose no units, which we use if we don't need any format and precision, you'll notice there are no format and precision choices here. So if we're just going to put in a text command, we don't need any field type. We can say no units. If we're going to string multiple text commands together, we can also put the field type on string. Once again, we don't need any format precision. Keep in mind though that even if we do choose the field type length or angle, which are just like the length and angle common parameters we have here, even if we do type in text and have a format precision, the format and precision is not going to apply to text. So 99% of all tags in the Practicad default database are actually utilizing the field type length. Very rarely do we use angle for a specific angle parameter, and custom is only used in specific situations. And there are tutorials on quick tips why we would use the custom and how to create it. So what we're going to do here is say we're going to choose the field type length, which is what we use for virtually every single property in the software. And now we're going to be prompted for the format and precision. Now keep in mind that we've got format and precision properties up top under our common parameters. However, these dictate the general format and precision for the entire tag. However, if we're going to create a custom tag with multiple fields, for example, we have field 1A and 2A, the common parameters would dictate all of the fields unless we clicked on a specific field and then chose a format and precision here. If we choose a format and precision inside the field box, it will override anything we've done for common parameters. Generally, if we know all the fields are going to be the same in terms of format precision, we would just use the common parameters. However, you can always adjust each individual field to whatever format and precision you want. One difference between the two, if common parameters are in control of the format precision, we can control or edit these parameters from the AutoCAD property box. If the format and precision is being controlled by the field box parameters, we have to modify these through the edit tag command. And there are tutorials on editing tags that'll go over that. So what we're going to do here to finish this lang tag is we're going to say, let's choose format fractional. And then we're going to choose the precision 1/2 inch. Now we're also offered 4 options below. If we're going to use a format precision that requires fractions, we can choose how we'd like to see those fractions. No stack, diagonal, horizontal, and no line. We're going to go demonstrate each one of them in this tutorial. So what we're going to do here is we're going to close field 2A because we don't need it. We're going to just click on 1A and double check to make sure that we've got all the properties we'd like. We're going to hit the save key and we're going to exit out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on our PCAD test lang tag and we're going to put it here, and you can see that this duct is 56.5 inches long. It's being represented by the format fractional precision 1/2 inch, and we currently have it set for no stack fractions. Now we're going to switch it to the other 3 types. Here we have the diagonal stacking. Here we have the horizontal stacking. Notice that there's a line between the 1 and the 2. And here we have the no line stacking. And the only difference between horizontal and no line is there's no line between the 1 and the 2. So you can choose the different fractional stacking options if that happens to be the format and precision you're utilizing. In this part of the tutorial, we're going to go over how to use the function field. The function field allows us to either use certain mathematical formulas or certain logic expressions to create intelligent tags in PractiCAD. Now there are a variety of options here, from the if, then, else, or either or logic functions, and there are going to be separate tutorials on each one of these. And then there's also mathematical functions like absolute value, min and max, and you can go down the list from square root all the way down to your sines, cosines, and tangents. The first one we're going to focus on is the if, then, else logic expression. This actually comes directly from Excel. This is also the most useful logic expression we have in our software, and it is consistent not only in tags, but also with our reports. The best way to demonstrate the if, then, else function is to design a tag and watch it work. In this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to create a transition tag. The transition tag, whenever the top of the transition is up, is going to show one value, and whenever the top is down, it's going to show another value. Basically, we're going to create an intelligent tag that will switch back and forth utilizing the if, then, else function. First thing we're going to do is start the expression by clicking on the ampersand next to the if, then, else function field. You're going to notice that PractiCAD is going to show you if, then, else, and then we're going to have 2 parentheses. Now the if, then, else function is a 3-part statement. First, we make a statement inside PractiCAD. Then we utilize a comma. Then we write in PractiCAD what we want to see, if the statement we made first was true. Then we put another comma, and then we put inside Practicad what we want to see if the statement we made was false. So it's a three-part expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a statement. And what we're going to do is go into the property window, and we're going to make a statement that's going to say top change, and we're going to hit the ampersand to enter it into the expression. Notice we're putting it after the first parenthesis. And then we're going to say is greater than, and we're going to use these mathematical functions we have here. And then we're going to type in the number 0 where it says number, and we're going to hit the ampersand. Here we can type in numerical values. And if those numerical values need units, we can also assign units here. So what we've done is we've just said top change is greater than 0. That is going to be our if statement. That's basically the statement we're making. Now what we need to do is we're going to click right after that particular statement. Notice the cursor's right after the 0. Now we're going to put a comma. And now we're going to put in Practicad, using the text and property values, what we'd like to see if that statement is true. Now inside Practicad, if the top change is greater than 0 on a transition, the transition's top is up. So what we're going to say is we're going to go to text and we're going to type in TU. And we're going to hit the ampersand. And that's going to be what we want to see if this expression is true. Then we're going to hit comma. And now we're going to put inside Practicad what we want to see if the expression we made or the statement we made was false. So if top change is greater than 0 is false, that would mean that the top change is less than 0. And if the top change is less than 0 in Practicad, the transition is going down. So we're going to put in text, we want to see the letters TD. And then we're going to hit the ampersand again. So taking a look at this expression, we make a statement which is top change is greater than 0. Then we have a comma. Then we say if that's true, show the letters TU. Then we have a comma. And then we say if that's false, show the letters TD. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save and we're going to exit out of my library. We're going to go over to this tag called PCAD test we've just modified, and we're going to click on this transition here. And notice that it's going to say top down or TD. And what we can do here is we can click on our transition and we can come over here and say top change 8. Right now the top change is greater than 0. So it shows top up. Then we're going to take top change and we're going to say it's negative 8. So now it's less than 0. And you can see when we hit enter, Practicad changes it so the top is now down. So the tag is going to say if top change greater than 0, show TU. If top change less than 0, show TD. So this is a simple example of how the if then else can be used, one expression, to edit a tag as you work in Practicad. This tag is now intelligent. In the next tutorial, we're going to show you how to string along multiple if then else expressions so that we can represent more than just two outcomes on one single tag. We just designed a tag and we said if top change is greater than 0 and that statement is true, let's show TU, comma, if that statement was false, let's show TD. Now what we'd like to do is add two more parts of this expression. We'd like to say that if the top change equals 0, we want to show TF for top flat. And we'd like to say that if the bottom change equals 0, we'd like to see BF for bottom flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear out the expression. And we're going to start from scratch. Once again, we're going to start our first if-then-else function by clicking on the ampersand. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our first statement. And this time we're going to say the first statement is going to be if top change, we're going to scroll down to top change, and we're going to say if top change equals 0. So here's what we're going to do. We select top change, we're going to hit the ampersand, and then we're going to say equals, and we're going to put the numerical value 0, we're going to hit the ampersand. So if top change equals 0, we're now going to hit the comma, and we're now going to make what we want to see. We're going to create the statement. We're just going to show the letters TF for top flat. And then we're going to hit the ampersand to enter it. Now normally what we would do is we would hit a comma and then say what we would like to see if the first statement was not true. But what we can do is string along multiple if-then-else scenarios until we reach all the possible outcomes. So what we're going to do right here is we're actually going to hit comma. And then we're going to go to if-then-else again. So look at what we've done here. We've said if top change equals 0, comma, show TF. Then we're going to say comma, and we're going to start over again, and we're going to say if, and we're now going to make the next statement. We're going to say B for bottom change, and we're going to say if bottom change, and we're going to hit the ampersand, we're going to hit equals, and the numerical 0, and we're then going to hit a comma again. So what we're going to say is if top change equals 0, comma, show TF. If bottom change equals 0, comma, and now we're going to show BF. And then we're going to put that in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit comma, and we're going to start the expression over again. And we're going to say if, and then we're going to go back to top change, and we're going to say in the property field, if top change, and we're going to hit the ampersand and say if top change is greater than 0, so we're going to go to where it says number and hit the ampersand, comma, and we're going to show the TU we had before, because if the top change is greater than 0, the top is up, hit the ampersand, and now because this is the last part of the expression, we're going to close it off the way we normally would. We're going to say comma, and then we're going to say what we do if this statement's not true. And we're going to say TD, and we're going to hit the ampersand. Now let's start from the beginning and read from left to right what we've done here. We've basically said if top change equals 0, comma, show TF. And we use another comma. Then we reset it. If bottom change equals 0, comma, show BF. And then we're going to have a comma after that. And we're going to reset the expression and say if top change is greater than 0, comma, show TU. And then if that statement isn't true, we say comma, TD. So the last part, when we string multiple if-then-else functions together, is always going to go back to your original, make a statement, comma, what we do if the statement's true, comma, what we do if the statement's false. But before we do that, we can string as many situations or as many expressions together, one at a time, so that we cover every conceivable option for this tag. Now, one thing we want to be very careful of is if we're going to string these expressions together, always double check to make sure you have not missed a comma, and then always double check to make sure that the number of parentheses going right equals the number of parentheses going left. Here you can see we've got 1 parenthesis going right, 2 going right, 3 going right. And then you can see at the end we've got 1, 2, 3 parentheses going left. Therefore, the equation or the expression is balanced. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit save and we're going to exit out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to double click on this transition and notice that we got top change set at -8 right now. So we're going to come and we're going to grab this tag, the PCAD test, and we're going to click and just simply put it on our transition. Notice that it shows the proper value because top change is -8. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make top change +8. It shows TU. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say top change equals 0 and hit enter. You can see it shows top flat. And then we're going to take bottom change and we're going to make it 0 and it'll show bottom flat. Now here in this we have the depth in and the depth out equal to one another. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the depth out to 14. That way we can give top change and bottom change both 0. Now notice that when we had bottom change 0, it still showed top flat. Why did it pick top flat over bottom flat? Now you can see that top change is 0, so it does top flat. Or if we change bottom change to 0, it does bottom flat. But before, when we had the depth out to 18 and we put bottom change at 0, it went to top flat. Why did it do that? Well, the reason why is that top change and bottom change are both 0. And when that happens, Practicad runs over the expression from left to right. So let's take a look. We're going to go back into the library icon and we're going to look at this expression because this is a very important point. And here we're going to double click on the field we were just working on. Notice that the first portion of this expression is top change equals 0, show top flat. Every time you make an edit, Practicad is going to go to the beginning of this expression and work its way from left to right until finally it hits a part of this expression that applies. Then it's going to choose the value that you've set here. So when we change it, bottom change 0, if the top change is 0 at the same time, Practicad goes to the beginning of this expression and says, if top change equals 0, show top flat. Therefore, we saw TF instead of BF. The reason why we're pointing this out in this tutorial is because the order at which you pick your conditions can be a crucial part in making sure that your tag represents the proper data at all times. So you want to give it thought as to what you'd like to see first and then what you'd like to see later on down the line. If you design a perfect tag, Practicad will only meet one criteria at a time. That'll conclude the tutorial on the if-then-else function. The second logic set we offer under the function section is the either-or function. Now, though if mastered, if-then-else can replicate anything either-or function can do. You can use if-then-else for every single logic scenario we would ever create inside Practicad. However, the either-or function is very easy to use and can be handy if we run into a situation where we're only going to have two possible outcomes, either and or. For example, if we'd like to create one tag, which either will represent width by depth of rectangular duct or the diameter of round duct, we can use this function to create a quick, simple if-then scenario, either or. What we're going to do is we're going to hit the ampersand to enter it into the expression field. Either or works, we make one statement or we say to represent one value, then we put a comma, and then we put what we want to see if the first value or first statement doesn't exist. For example, we're just going to simply say that we'd like to see first within. We're going to choose the property within and hit the ampersand. Then we're going to hit the little plus key because we want to combine property with text. So we're going to say show the property within plus we want to see the little X for text. So now we're going to put it in the text field and we're going to hit the ampersand. Then we're going to hit the plus key again because we're going to combine text with property. And now we're going to hit D for depth and we're going to say depth in. And we're going to hit the ampersand to enter that into expression. So the first part of our expression is going to be show within plus the X plus the value of depth in. Now we're going to put a comma. And basically what's going to happen is if that expression exists or these values exist on the entity we click this tag on, it's going to show these values. However, if they don't exist, we're going to put what we want to see. So we're going to say if that doesn't exist, we want to see diameter in. We're going to choose the property diameter in. And now we're going to hit the ampersand. And then we're going to hit the plus key. And we're going to combine it with text of the quotes to represent inches. So what we're going to see here is either the width in by the depth in, comma, or the diameter in plus the inches symbol. So it's either or. And this expression stops here. It can only be used for either one thing or the other. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to choose the format decimal and we're going to choose the precision 0. And we're going to save this tag and we're going to exit out. And now we've got a piece of rectangular duct on the drawing and a piece of round duct. And we're going to grab this tag and we're going to choose the PCAD test tag. We're going to click on the rectangular duct and notice that it shows 36 by 18. That's because it was either that or diameter. Diameter doesn't exist. However, if we click on the round duct, because the width and depth in do not exist, it's going to jump to the OR section of this tag. And what it's going to do is show us the diameter. So we've created one tag that if we click on one duct, shows one thing. If we clicked on another duct, it shows another. So we can utilize the either or function whenever we know it's going to be either one of two choices. The value field allows you to quickly access the name of anything inside your own custom data to use in your expression. For example, you give names or values to your connectors, your locks, your joints, your seams, your materials. You give values to system numbers, zones. Those names of everything you've created exist in this drop-down menu. So if we wanted to create an expression, as we're doing up here, that says the statement, if material equals black iron, well, we could come over to the text section and type black iron and then hit the ampersand and enter it. Or if we already knew that the name black iron was a value or property associated with materials, we could simply go to value, hit B, and it should be on our list. And right here you can see that black iron is. So we're just going to select black iron from the drop down menu and then hit the ampersand to enter it that way. It is simply a matter of preference. This will make it very easy to see the values of everything inside your data and apply them to your expression. The elevation mark with name field is a highly specialized field that specifically pertains to the value of the elevation of a given mark. In tutorials earlier, we described how to create a drawing, choose reference points, and create relative marks, and then tag entities from these reference points so that the drawing always shows the proper reference points. For example, here it says elevation mark with name, and we're just going to put in the value 0. 0 is actually the name of the mark. And if we hit the ampersand here, you can see that Practicat puts in the word elevation, and then it shows the name of the mark 0. To demonstrate why this is a useful feature and what we use it for, we're going to exit out of the system, and we're going to go back into the elevation box. And what we're going to do here is take a look at the elevation box and notice that we had created a reference point at 10 foot and set it to relative bottom. And we had created a mark with the name 0. And that happens to be the default name of the first reference point you put on your drawing. Now this duct, if we click on it and go to the elevation box, you can see that the bottom of duct is at absolute 20 foot. And there is a property for that, and it's called bottom elevation. The property bottom elevation means the absolute value of the bottom of that duct. Now what happens is if we come over to our tag bin and we choose the elevation 0 no leader tag that we trained you to use in the earlier tutorials, and we apply it to this duct, you'll notice that it happens to say the bottom is at 10 foot. The reason why is the tag is intelligent. Let's left click and then right click on this tag and go to edit tag so we can see how this tag is actually working. We're going to click on field 2A, and if you look at it, we're showing the text B equals, so we always see B equals on the drawing. Then we have a little plus key, and then we have the property bottom elevation minus elevation mark 0. Now the bottom elevation of this duct is 20 foot. The value of the elevation mark 0 happens to be on the drawing 10 foot. So it's subtracting the two for us. And what this is doing is it's allowing us to have duct in the BIM model at 20 foot, but the tag is saying that we're only 10 foot above our reference point. So if we basically click on this duct, you can see that the bottom of duct's at 20 foot. However, the tag is taking the bottom elevation, the property bottom elevation, and it's subtracting the value of elevation mark 0, which happens to be 10 foot. So the tag says 20 foot minus 10 foot and shows bottom 10 foot. And that's what we want, because in this particular tutorial, the bottom slab or the top of the slab we're referencing from is at 10 foot. However, in the BIM model, we need the bottom of this duct to be at 20 foot. So the tags hold the intelligence, and your default data has all of that intelligence, those formulas, already built in. This tutorial is just to explain how they work, because you can create relative marks of any number with any name, and you can use those values to subtract from any elevation tag or any property. In this particular case, we're using it to subtract the bottom elevation and top elevation of the duct from our relative bottom mark, which happens to be elevation mark with name 0. The last section we're going to cover inside the field box for custom tags is utilizing the numbers. Earlier in the tutorials, we show you how to utilize a number in an expression. We cannot freely type in numbers or formulas into the expression field. So just like we're using text for lettering, we basically have numbers for numerical value. So if we'd like to use a numerical value in a formula, we can simply put the value in here and then hit the ampersand. Now notice right now that we are not formatting this number at all. It's no units and no units. So if we hit the ampersand, this 5 that you see in the expression is just the numerical value 5, nothing more. It's going to multiply something just by 5. However, we can build formulas and choose to represent the same value by formatting the numbers so it's different. For example, we're going to say multiply 5 times, and then we're going to say let's format this next number 5 to be length. And you can see we have length, area, volume, weight, time, and money. And based on these choices, you can literally create any format that you'd like. Here we're just going to say we're going to format the number for length. And when you format for length and you go down to the drop-down menu, it's going to give you the choices associated with length. If you do time, it'll give you the choices for time, money, and so on. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say format it for feet. And now we're going to hit the ampersand. And if you do that, inside the expression, it is going to say numerical 5, but it's going to have feet. So that means that we're actually taking the number 5 and multiplying it by 5 foot. So if we were to save this and exit out and just utilize this tag, and the tag currently is nothing more than a formula, and we click on the duct or just on the drawing in general, it's going to take the number 5 and multiply it by 5 foot, which is 60 inches, and 5 times 60 is 300. So we use the number to put in number values. We use the text to put in letter values. But if we'd like to format those numbers, we can do it by just plugging in the proper units. That is going to conclude all of the tutorials on the field box.